Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Is Cruz leaving One Chicago? Joe Miñoso's future in Chicago Fire explained. Chicago Fire Season 13, Episode 9, A Favor, left Joe Miñoso, future fate up in the air, leading to speculation that Cruz may be leaving the firefighter-centric series. Cruz's dilemma began in the fall finale when Junior Polanco Richard Cabral confronted him. Polanco was the cousin of a gang member who died in a fire back in Season 1, and one thing to remember about the Chicago Fire fall finale was that Polanco left bullet casings in the firehouse as part of his revenge plan. A Favor includes an intense sequence of events that prove that Chicago Fire is the best One Chicago show. In order to avoid Severide investigating what happened with that long-ago fire, Cruz reluctantly goes along with Polanco's plan to rob Firehouse 51, but tries to back out halfway through, which Polanco won't allow him to do. Ultimately, Cruz is shot during the robbery, and while he escapes with only minor injuries, he leaves blood behind that could easily prove his involvement in the break-in. Cruz is in huge trouble, and it's unclear how he can get out of it short of resigning from Firehouse 51 in exchange for charges not being filed against him. Blood and other forensic evidence prove he was at the scene of the robbery, which means that he'll be lucky if he is only fired and not arrested. His best defense is to explain that he was acting under duress, but doing so would require confessing to letting someone die in a fire years ago, which would get him in trouble for an even worse crime. Cruz could potentially make up a story that gets him off the hook for now, but the truth will come out eventually if he does. And while Polanco is dead, Cruz could potentially open himself to other blackmail if he tries to keep things under wraps. Confessing everything to Pascal Dermot Mulroney is risky, but might be his best option for getting out of the mess he's found himself in. However, considering how intent Pascal is on running a tight ship, it's unlikely he would allow Cruz to continue working for Firehouse 51. Although things look bad for Cruz, he won't be written out immediately. Chicago Fire's Joe Miñoso confirms that Cruz will continue to cover things up in Episode 10. Thus, this story will likely go on for the rest of the season. However, it's unclear whether Miñoso will remain part of the Chicago Fire cast for Season 14. The story could ultimately end with his lies being uncovered and him leaving Firehouse 51 in disgrace. It would be shocking for Cruz to leave Chicago Fire, as he has been with the series since the beginning. He is also recognizable to the part of the audience who only tunes in for One Chicago crossovers, as he is usually prominent in these stories. However, Cruz's actions may have painted the character into a corner, as it is difficult to imagine a way out of this dilemma for him that doesn't involve serious consequences for the crimes he has committed. In the ever-evolving world of One Chicago, the question on many fans' minds is Joe Cruz, played by Joe Miñoso, leaving Chicago Fire? As the show progresses, beloved characters sometimes come and go, and it's natural to wonder whether or not Cruz's time at Firehouse 51 is coming to an end. Let's take a deep dive into what could be in store for Cruz, his future on the show, and the real-life considerations that might influence his departure. Cruz's journey on Chicago Fire. Joe Cruz has been a core member of the Chicago Fire cast since the show's inception in 2012. As a firefighter with a deep sense of loyalty, bravery, and heart, Cruz has earned the affection of fans over the years. His journey has been nothing short of eventful. He's survived life-threatening situations, navigated his complicated personal life, and witnessed the highs and lows of his fellow firefighters. From his early days as a rookie firefighter to becoming one of the team's most reliable and seasoned members, Cruz has undergone significant growth. However, despite his long-standing commitment to Firehouse 51, recent developments on the show have raised questions about his future. For starters, Cruz has been shown struggling with the weight of his responsibilities. His marriage to Chloe and their growing family has led him to reflect on his future in a way that might suggest he's contemplating a shift in priorities. The challenges of balancing a high-risk job with family obligations can often cause characters like Cruz to reconsider their life choices. Fans have speculated that Cruz's role may be evolving, potentially signaling a change in his career path within the firehouse. Joe Miñoso's personal and professional life. Behind the scenes, Joe Miñoso's own life could provide some insight into Cruz's future. Miñoso has been with Chicago Fire for over a decade, and like many long-term cast members, he has seen the dynamics of the show shift over the years. It's not uncommon for actors who have been part of a successful show to eventually seek new opportunities, whether in other roles or new projects. Miñoso, known for his charm, humor, and authenticity, has expressed that his connection to Cruz is deeply personal. The character has allowed him to explore important themes like family, sacrifice, and loyalty, which resonate with Miñoso himself. However, actors often want to expand their range and take on new challenges, which could mean Miñoso might be ready to explore different roles or even step back from the show entirely. There have also been murmurs about Joe Miñoso potentially wanting to focus more on his personal life, as he has been vocal about the demands of a long-running show. It's possible that he might be seeking a better work-life balance, especially as his character's personal life, including his role as a husband and father, becomes more complicated. Will Cruz leave Chicago Fire? The big question is whether or not Cruz will leave Chicago Fire altogether. While there's no official confirmation from the producers or Miñoso himself about Cruz's departure, there are several factors that could hint at where the character might be headed. Family as a driving force. One key element of Cruz's story arc has been his devotion to his family. His relationship with his wife, Chloe, and their baby son is at the forefront of his emotional growth. It's no secret that the pressures of being a firefighter, with its constant risk of danger, have weighed on Cruz. With the birth of his child, Cruz's desire to protect his family has become even stronger. In recent seasons, we've seen Cruz wrestle with the possibility of stepping back from active duty in order to be more present for his growing family. The balance between family and career has been a recurring theme for many One Chicago characters, and while Cruz's love for his job and colleagues is undeniable, it's possible that the safety of his family could ultimately push him toward a decision to leave the firehouse. However, rather than a dramatic exit, Cruz's departure could be framed as a natural evolution of his character. Perhaps he takes on a different role within the fire department that allows him to be closer to home while still contributing to the team. The evolving dynamics at Firehouse 51. Another factor that might impact Cruz's future on the show is the changing dynamics within Firehouse 51. Over the years, the firehouse has seen numerous comings and goings, with characters like Matt Casey, Jesse Spencer, and Gabriella Dawson, Monica Raymond, leaving the show for various reasons. Each departure shifts the balance within the group and forces other characters to step up and adapt. Cruz has long been a loyal and dependable member of the team, and his relationships with the other firefighters, particularly with his close friend, Kelly Severide, Taylor Kinney, have been integral to his character. However, as new characters have come into the fold and others have taken on more prominent roles, the dynamic at Firehouse 51 has evolved. This could leave Cruz in a position where he questions his place within the firehouse or where his future might be headed. It's possible that Cruz may begin to take on a more advisory or leadership role, such as mentoring new recruits, rather than continuing to fight fires on the front lines. This kind of shift could provide the opportunity for Miñoso to explore new dimensions of Cruz's character without completely removing him from the show. A potential departure? As with any long-running TV show, the possibility of a character's departure is always looming, especially when an actor has been with the series for an extended period. If Cruz does decide to leave, it's important to consider how his exit would be handled in terms of storytelling. Chicago Fire has a history of handling character departures with care, often leaving the door open for a return. In Cruz's case, his exit might not be as sudden or dramatic as some might expect. Instead, the show could take a more gradual approach, giving fans time to process his departure. Given that the character has a family to consider, it's likely that Cruz's story would conclude in a way that reflects his growth and the realization that it's time for him to step away from the dangers of the firehouse to focus on his loved ones.